you, sir.
All right, it's 2:00 and I'd like to call us to order. Before we start, can you please silence your phones? And so roll call, Leanne Smith,
Present.
Carol Newmeyer,
Here.
Logan Marsh,
Here.
Teresa Vogler,
Here.
and Katie Teltron is here. So we have a quorum. Alrighty, so under new business, let's get started with Teresa Vogler presenting a discussion and possible action regarding the hospital district board secretary position, salary, and related details.
Okay, as far as our recording secretary, I used resources from Mojave County, government salaries, ZipRecruiter, and wage and hour division. Some board secretaries, I'm not talking about our community, can be paid up to 6 figures depending on where they're located in the business. We are talking about a part-time position. Median salary, which is, you have 500 salaries, this is what's right in the middle, that's the median. The median salary is $22.32, and that is as of June of '25. For a full-time position, you would add approximately 31% for benefits and 7.4% for PTO. This is a part-time position, and we I believe the last meeting did discuss an hourly rate, which is reasonable considering what we are asking the person to do. We also have a local staffing company who will handle the payroll, meaning the hours will be turned in monthly, and any hours or supplies they would then turn around and bill the hospital, so that our recording secretary would be taken care of as far as taxes at the end of the year and other things that need to have happen. And they would charge on top of the hourly rate that we would propose, 38% on top of that hourly rate. Any questions?
I have a question.
So, and I appreciate all the research because I think you did a great job. In some of my discussions that I'll discuss further in new business, I think we're looking at more of an administrator standpoint than a secretary standpoint that's gonna be a little bit more than part-time. And I can go into that in greater detail in the next item, or the following item, but I think starting with secretary is gonna be great, but I think we should possibly be looking at, a full-time to administration position.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments?
I do.
I think it's fine for having a recording secretary, we have to have that, but why is there a need for administrator? The chairman should be the administrator, and that is something that is a volunteer thing, and that's just another person earning who knows how much money, for what are they gonna do? That's different than what the chairman is responsible for.
Our recording secretary will take the minutes.
I understand what the recording secretary will do, I'm talking about the administrator. We have to have a recording
We
secretary.
are talking about an administrative assistant,
Correct.
not an administrator.
I thought that's-
I should clarify that better. My apologies.
Anything else?
This is fine.
I don't know if we clarified the position very well.
No,
No, do you want to cover that in more detail under your presentation?
I would like to, yeah.
All right, so at this point, do we need to get a motion?
I think we should just allow her to continue going through and finding the best candidate. It'll come up, I think we should continue to discuss this at at 2 items down.
2 items down, that's what I kind of suspect. Okay, let's then suspend this one and move on to the next one. Logan Marsh will be presenting a discussion and possible action regarding the lease agreement between the Hospital District Board and KHI.
All right, if most of you don't know who are here, that I have been tasked with the board to head up negotiations with KHI. Just kind of giving an update on what both Katie and I and Keith and some of the hospital administration staff discussed. I'm gonna kind of just read this out for you guys. During the discussions with the hospital leadership, the board explored how federal funds are matched and returned to the institution. Federal rules require public entities to contribute money without any return to the public entity, but the board noted that the current implementation doesn't operate as intended. And to add to that, both the board and the hospital really want to figure out a real clear line on this. The CEO Heath had proposed separating the district's lease payment to form a new community health investment bucket. In this structure, the lease payment would be paid differently for use of the hospital building, and a second pool would be available for investment for the board for community health initiatives at the board's discretion. Board members, I actually brought this, other board members, which you guys are aware of, raised concerns about the need for a facilities maintenance report, asking for a quarterly or semi-annual update detailing repairs, upgrades, and capital improvements. Examples included, for example, the Del Webb project. I believe, I'm gonna kind of go off script, but I believe that the hospital and the board are on the same page to figure out how they're gonna facilitate this. I do know that in future discussions, we're gonna probably iron out how that's gonna work, but that's pretty much where we got at the moment. Just the idea of the discussion was there, and dropped the hint, and the hospital were very interested in figuring out how to get that accomplished. The discussion also highlighted the board's lack of administrative support. Board members suggested hiring a full-time administrator or administrator with assistant, I didn't clarify that correctly, to coordinate accounts, attorneys, investment advisors, handle agendas and reporting, and support the board's expanding responsibilities under some of the things that we're responsible to do to be compliant. Finally, participants considered a relationship with, I considered a relationship at the direction of the board with our county government during that meeting, which I felt in the beginning was going quite well. They dropped the bombshell on me where they tasked me with a bunch of work, which I had no problem doing to facilitate it, and then wanted to form a committee. And we all know committees, a lot of them don't go anywhere. So I'm going to be exploring additional options to privatize an office and other items that our board's going to need to support our growing responsibilities, and present that to you guys at a future date. With that said, is there any questions with? Sweet, go ahead, just ask me.
One question I have, if we are a district from the county, a special district, why can't we use an office at the county building?
Go ahead.
Did you want to answer?
Absolutely. Well, in the discussions with the county, the county attorney did state that everything we were requesting is absolutely feasible, but to draft up an intergovernmental agreement from scratch seemed to be a little overwhelming. Supervisor Don Martin was present at the meeting, as well as briefly the new county manager, David, I'm sorry, I forgot his last name, but my impression was they were a little overwhelmed, not knowing how to explore this. I mentioned fire districts, water districts, other special taxing districts that are considered fundamental to the county, not like a special roads district. I mean, this board is fundamental to the operations of the hospital in this community, so it's higher priority other districts. They did task me with calling all of the other communities and asking their supervisors and their county managers how they do these agreements and to possibly get copies of it. That's a lot of man hours. And then at the end of that, they wanted me to take that to them and then them form a committee to discuss how that's gonna go.
I was curious about why is this administrator person need to be an investment advisor? I mean, the money that we get from the hospital is supposed to go back towards benefiting the hospital. That's what my understanding of the whole agreement is. So what are you talking about?
Under, I can't really comment too much on it yet because there's nothing in stone and we're still negotiating with the hospital, but in the way that if funds work out in the way that we're hoping to, we're gonna be able to reinvest in our community, with educational programs and possible, student scholarships. And we can actually take that money, after researching ARS, Tom, please correct me if I'm wrong, and researching this myself, we can actually use an investment firm to grow that money further for the scholarships. And so it's gonna need legwork, it's gonna need somebody that is familiar with it, not just a recording secretary.
And the only other, the problem that I see with having an administrator is somebody that, what he's doing, these things that you're proposing, is things that require board approval. And he's not gonna have board approval without having a meeting and presenting it and stuff. So I don't really understand why we need to have an administrative assistant.
You're absolutely correct, so we would approve the tasks that we would task that administrator with, or administrative assistant. Any other questions? At this moment, the only action I'm asking you to take is to continue talks with the hospital and present as things move forward.
So can I get a motion?
I make a motion that we allow Logan to continue the discussions to further this. We're talking about the lease agreement, right? Correct. Yeah, I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Sorry about that.
Okay, so item C. Again, Logan Marsh presenting discussion and possible action regarding a new office for the hospital district board.
Yes. All right, so given the conversation that I just shared with you guys about the county, I am gonna continue to honor my commitment and move forward and get the information the county has requested. But on the other hand, I am gonna be looking for outside office space here locally in Kingman and possibly purchase or leasing, put together a feasible cost of timeline, what those utilities are gonna look like, and just a place to store records. Also, with that said, what I'm looking for here as the administrative point of view, as administrative support options, is as we're looking at an office, we're gonna have to have an administrative assistant, and or, a secretary that can have expanded duties. So I'm just looking for permission to continue exploring both options and having more to present to you guys at the next meeting.
All right.
Any
Can I get a-
questions?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't have a question, but I guess not to you, but do we ever have people who walk in to the hospital board asking questions, requesting information? Does that happen?
I get emails, and they have questions on occasion. No one really walks in though.
We currently have, we currently have no forward-facing availability to the public other than by mail or email.
I'm looking for a motion to continue. It died.
Oh, all right. Can I get a motion for this particular item?
I thought that was already done in second.
That was,
Or was that the other?
that was the other one.
That was, yeah, this is,
I'll make a motion to have Logan continue his research regarding a new office for the hospital district board.
I'll second.
okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. No.
So one no.
And we can scratch D and move, move Teresa's to where Dee lives, in my opinion, thank you.
Have something to add to?
No, I don't.
We had just moved it, that's.
Okay, so.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna skip D and move on to E. Okay, discussion and possible action regarding in-person open meeting law training by Mojave County Attorney's Office. And this is going to be presented by Dr. Newmeyer.
On the packet, page 9, Billy,
On the packet, it's page 9, and Billy Neal contacted the local attorneys. I had talked to the state, and I had to, if I was going to go with the state, I'd have to send him an email, but the people here locally responded, and they've agreed to perform training and a question and answer session for the board. All we have to do is schedule the meeting on the website at least 24 hours in advance, and that there'll be no agenda and no call to the public. So, and it's he's a very tight schedule, so this is the day that he recommended. And since usually we meet on Tuesdays, I thought that most people would be able to attend on a Tuesday.
How quickly do we have to respond?
well, we've already agreed to.
Okay.
I
Sounds
can
good.
cancel it if it's
No.
not more.
Sounds like we responded.
Anyway, it's been agreed on
Okay.
by, because like I said, we meet on Tuesdays, so I thought it would probably be okay for most of the board, if not all of them, to meet. And it's at 4 o'clock, so if we don't want it, we can always cancel with the county.
Is there a cost to us for this?
No. Completely.
No cost.
All right. Okay, so,
So I'll make a motion that we go ahead and approve meeting on Tuesday, May 5th at 4 o'clock for open meeting law training.
okay, all in favor, say aye.
We have to have a
I'll
second.
second. I second
Okay, thank you.
it. Go on.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, ayes have it. All right, so discussion and possible action regarding adding page numbers to the hospital district board bylaws, Leanne Smith presenting.
Okay, I brought this up because I'm the newest member, and I've sat on other boards, and when a new member comes in, it's like, holy cow, what do I do? So I was attempting to make, as a new member comes in, a more efficient and effective way, so they can get up to speed a little quicker, and it saves the board's time as well as the public's time, and people aren't stumbling around trying to figure out something. So, sitting on past boards, I am the past president of the Kingman Golden Valley Regionalist Association, and when bylaws are changed, in our US Constitution, we have a thing called the Bill of Rights, and we have the amendments. And in some issues, they will show, like for women voting, they'll make a note, see amendment such and such. So in our bylaws, if we can make a similar note when something's changed, amended and including the date, then we know those bylaws that have never been changed have no notation. And the bylaws that have been changed have maybe 1, 2, even 3 notations, depending upon the changes that are happening within the organization. And that is why I made this recommendation.
The one we're on is F, where you're talking
What
about
does
page
that have to
numbers.
do with page numbers?
So, yeah, she's,
Oh, I thought,
that's
I'm
okay,
sorry.
yeah, she's doing the next one, that's okay.
I'm
She's got a
sorry,
whole
it's
lot.
okay. I don't have my glasses on. So anyway, the page numbers kind of go along with this, because as you're talking about a bylaw change or you're referencing a bylaw, it's flipping pages. It's easier to say page 9, page 6, whatever, and then go to that section. So I just thought that would make it easier for everyone to communicate a little clearer, especially if they would put their glasses on.
All right,
I
okay,
would agree
so
with that.
regarding item F, can I get a recommendation, a motion?
I will make a motion to go ahead and add page numbers to our bylaws.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, all in favor, say
Can we
aye.
just include that, the other part of it too?
Well, so far you're separated, so let's just
Yeah.
take them one by one.
All right.
Okay, so moving on to, ayes have it?
Ayes have it?
Ayes have it.
All right.
Good. Alright, moving on to item G, discussion of possible action regarding notation of changes within the bylaws as amendments or otherwise, if any changes are made in the future. Leanne Smith presenting.
So we're not gonna be redundant, we've already talked about that.
Do you wanna make a motion?
You're not supposed to make usually a motion on an action item you present,
Oh.
Okay,
historically.
I'll make a motion to accept Leanne's changes for quotations and or section references as she's outlined
for the amendments.
for the amendments.
Can I get a second?
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it, and G is passed as well. Alright. Discussion and possible action regarding the hospital district board bylaws and how they currently do not clearly and specifically define real property nor equipment. And that these definitions should be put as appendix items within the bylaws and they should be aligned with the lease.
Oh, okay, the reason I brought this up is being specific. When you have an acronym, like ADA, what does that mean? Well, it can mean several different things. American Disability Act, American Dairy Association. So when we're specific with the definitions of the words we use, we have clarity and we have less confusion. And so when it talks about real property, what real property? I mean, we have a lot of property here, but it was never clearly defined that I could find in any of our documents. That's why I made this request, and Billy was gracious enough to identify that property for the future. So again, if somebody new comes to board, now they understand what the real property comprises.
Tom, would you lay out for us what we are responsible for as a board?
Sure. Under the statutes, you are the landlord of this parcel that we're sitting on. That means those things that are attached to the building become part and parcel of the building. For example, the carpet here, that is in fact attached to the floor. The cabinet that sits in the corner, it's hard to say, that's maybe not a good example, but the garbage can definitely is not attached to that wall. That's personal property. So the difference is that equipment that are fixtures to this building are part of the lease. Those things that are movable are not part of the lease. Now, some of our heavy medical equipment, of course, is bolted down, so it's the safety of the patient, so that might become a gray area, but the bottom line is the lease covers the building and any fixtures.
Okay, and yeah, I just think that needs to be clarified for the definition page, I just think that needs to be clarified for the definition page that you inserted here with Leanne, so that it's clear where the demarcation is.
Now, do we even need a motion on that?
I'm not sure.
Would you like to, do you wanna talk about
Okay, so we understand that, right? Okay, right. So do you want to, can I get a motion on this item H here?
I do have a question.
Okay.
This draft of the bylaws, was that the original, or was this something that's already been documented?
This is the one that you guys all agreed on already. This is the brand new bylaws that you guys fixed as of, I wanna say it was February or March that you guys approved everything.
Okay.
February.
And then I don't really understand, real property is all, when you're defining on this, if you're looking at this appendix A on definition, real property, you're still defining it by calling it real property. And it's, if you wanna be specific, it should give the location of the of where the hospital's at, the address. And that land and everything that's in it, where the wellness center is all included. If that's what you want to define, as what, when they're talking about real property, because they're not talking about other properties that the hospital owns that has nothing to do with the property that the hospital is on.
Or possibly we could amend it to include the parcel number.
That would be,
That would work.
That would be-
Addresses do change, courtesy of the US Postal Service. So we can do it, and a lot of people do not understand what real property is. Many here understand that, but coming from real estate, I have learned, people do not know what real property is. So I'm presuming someone who's new on the board may not also have that understanding, so again, we're looking for clarity.
So you were talking about when he was saying things that are not attached are not considered the real property.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm fine with it, including the parcel number. That would make it very definitive as to what they're talking about.
I mean, should we make a motion to include the parcel numbers that the district owns?
Have a second?
Which one?
All right, so we have a motion on the table?
I second it.
what is the motion?
Including the parcel numbers
On,
of our real property.
on the appendix?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
The definition? Okay.
And we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Who was the second?
I was.
Who was it, who made the motion? Oh, thank you.
Okay, so moving on to item I. Discussion and possible action regarding the creation of a calendar with due dates to ensure clarity that no dates for any events or deadlines for the hospital district board are missed in the future. Leanne Smith presenting.
I promise in the future I'll be more quiet. So anyway, sitting on numerous boards, I sat on a school board, having due dates were essential for the board members so nothing got missed. And I thought this calendar would help as I was going through some of the documents and, you know, a report had to be given at such and such date. I found that it was given early, which is cool, but by having a calendar, again, everyone has, they're out a couple months. I know I have meetings out 3 months. And by having a calendar in front of me, we know what we have to do when we have to do it, I think just makes sense, because this is a volunteer board, and we're giving our time, and the more notice we can have for must-dos would be greatly appreciated.
I actually think it's a requirement of the bylaws that there be a calendar. It's just not having been done the last year or two, I think.
This falls back to an agenda item that I originally brought up, I believe 2 board meetings ago. We need email addresses, a calendar, and an infrastructure for this. If we want to make a motion for us to come up with a short-term plan to maybe explore Google Workspaces or something in the meantime until we hire something out, which is relatively inexpensive for the board to incur to make this happen, we can make that happen by next month. So I would just, somebody needs to make a motion to purchase Workspaces and just make it happen.
He's our technology guru.
All right, so.
I don't understand what that has to do with developing a calendar.
The calendar and the email system is all integrated.
Calendars also come on the wall, and you can bring them in a book, you know, where we could figure this out at a meeting. It doesn't seem like you would have to have some kind of technological thing to decide about the calendar. I don't understand that.
Unfortunately, as things progress here in this day and age, the need for the technological advancements and to have the communication locked down and to have the calendar locked down and to actually hold, you know, us members accountable for our public offices, it needs to be something that can be tracked and monitored and measured. I can make it happen by next meeting if somebody wants to put a motion up for me.
I'll make a motion to have Logan March research the Google Docs. Workspaces at, a nominal cost to this board.
Can I get a second?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
I know I need one.
He needs one.
Any second?
Oh, okay. Well, if I can second it, I'll second
Go
it.
right ahead.
I'll second.
There we go.
Okay, all in favor say aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, so J, item J. Discussion of possible action regarding the next meeting dates for the hospital board to meet. So it looks like our next regular scheduled meeting will be May 5th. After that, I would propose that we go to 2-month centers. So after that, the next meeting would be July, then September, then November. So every 2 months. Because I think we need to give ourselves time to catch up.
We need to breathe. Yeah.
With all the work we've given ourselves. So,
I'll second that.
well, that's. I first need a motion.
Make the motion.
I'll motion to accept it as she read it.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second.
All right. Okay, so all in favor say aye?
Aye.
Okay, good. All right, so moving on to consideration and approval of minutes. Discussion and possible action regarding the approval of regular session
Tom's
meeting
flagging
minutes.
it. Tom's
Sorry.
flagging it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You wanna specify what, day of those months?
I picked the second Tuesday, so July 9, September 11, and November 13th. And then, of course, the meeting on May 5th.
May 5th is not the second.
I know it's not,
Okay.
That's like a special meeting.
It's
because of
well,
the training.
it's gonna be, it'll be treated like a regular meeting, whatever. Okay, so, discussion and possible action regarding the approval of regular session meeting minutes from the district board meeting that occurred on March 10. So do we have any questions about what was in the meeting minutes? No proposed revisions. Okay. So then can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor say aye?
Aye.
Okay. Discussion and possible action regarding the approval of emergency session meeting minutes from the hospital district board meeting that occurred March 26. And, so I looked at that on page 28, there were a number of things that had to be fixed. It was an emergency meeting, it was not a regular meeting. So if we just make those changes, it'll be fine. So on 28, change regular session to emergency meeting.
I'll motion to do that.
Okay.
I'll second.
And all in favor say aye.
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 All right. So, financial matters. Discussion and possible action regarding the hospital district board finance report and balance sheet. Barry Moore presenting.
Do you have a question?
You gonna approve the minutes?
Didn't we approve it?
I thought you were approving
The changes?
The changes.
Oh,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
All the
Yeah.
approval.
Can I get a motion to approve with the changes?
I'll motion to approve with the changes.
Okay.
I'll second. Carol
Thank you,
seconds with the
Tom.
change.
Sorry.
All right, so, Barry Moore will present the financial report and balance sheet.
You want the microphone? I think you need it.
Hello. Okay, so I'm looking at the balance sheet and statement of revenue and expenses. I think they're in the last 2 pages of the packet. They're close to the end of that stuff.
31 and 30.
Yep. Page 31, 32.
So this is for February 28th, 2026. And the middle column of the balance sheet is a column with February. So the cash at the end of February is 1.91965804. And total assets were 11,827,695. If you want to talk about the assets between the total and cash, if you have any questions about that, I can get into detail. So, I'm just gonna move on to the income statement, unless you want to talk about liability. So one liability we should talk about. The IGA's, accounts payable, there are 2 payments coming up soon. One is the APSI payment for May 1st for $412,860, and that's, so you'll be approving that per the agreement. And also there's the GME for 2025 or 20. It was actually voted on 6/30/25, so this was accrued in FY 25 for $1,687,975, and that's due on June 1st, so that'll be, I guess we can talk about that at the next meeting. So the statement of revenue and expenses, the income, the lease income was $890,000, and that's per GASB 87, the lease standard, so it's not cash basis, so that's why it's lower than cash. So, total income includes other income, so the total income is $1,167,094, and the expenses, which is in the middle of the page, are $1.7 million, $1,702,921. So the net income is negative at $535,793 for the current year to date. For the month, it's $136,719. I was looking at the current year, so.
Medical alert, level 2 trauma, ER, West 17, here now. Medical alert, level 2 trauma, ER, West 17, here now. Medical alert, level 2 trauma, ER, West 17, here now.
So are there any questions?
How are we gonna make the payments you're talking about if we're already in arrears for what we have, assets?
I mean, that you're talking about? So, I mean, that you have coming up? Well, you have enough cash. So we're talking about cash. This is accrual accounting, basis, actually modified accrual. So governmental accounting. And, so it'll, you have $100,000 a month of cash flow. And I think that's why you're talking about revising that.
Yeah, I just, yeah, you just said this, you know, we're in the hole for 535,000 something, and yet we have these payments coming up, one of us is over $1 million, so I just didn't understand how you.
This isn't cash, this is accrual accounting. So.
What is it then if it's not cash?
The only thing that's cash on this whole financial statements is the first line, cash. There's accruals and deferrals with this lease standard. There's a giant receivable on the balance sheet, and that's for so this goes out 10 years per the lease standard.
Yeah.
That's how long this, the lease is, you know, the rolling 10 years. So with the numbers that are in place on the lease, it's actually overall, it will be negative unless you change the lease. So,
Okay, so actually we have over, we have 1,965,000.
yeah, so you have to,
That's
you
what
have to
I'm-
look at the cash and project the cash flow.
Oh, okay.
Should probably provide the cash, statement of cash flows. So that's fine.
Okay.
Anything else? All right. Here's your-
Praise Rick.
Thank you.
All right, can I get a motion to accept the report as presented?
I'll make a motion to accept the report presented by Mr. Moore.
So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, so discussion of possible action regarding the payment of hospital district board attorney Tom Price's outstanding invoice of $4,902. So, I'm not sure I understand this, but the invoice that we have here is for $1,938.
Did we not pay him in full last time, Tom?
That's what I thought.
I don't know. I know that sounds strange. I don't handle, my billing system. Office administrator does. What we could do,
It ought to be in the minutes, about how much was authorized.
What we could do is just pay that smaller amount, and then we'll reconcile the numbers.
I can tell you what it was.
Could you?
So you guys made the payment. They got the warrant check. You made the payment at the last meeting. So what was left was $2,964 that you guys owed him. And then at the very last minute, as I was putting this agenda together, his office contacted me and said, wait, since then you've accrued $1,938 extra.
Okay, so today we will pay, what is it, $2,960?
The whole thing is $4,902 is what is owed.
Do you really, why did, she was writing a check, why wouldn't we just pay the whole thing? Why was there $2,964 that wasn't paid?
This is just what I was told.
Yeah,
Just
but
letting
it
you know.
All right,
I don't believe
let's,
it's properly
let's
voted on.
get this in your office, tell us next meeting what we actually owe.
I apologize. I didn't know that was gonna be an issue, so I was unprepared.
Okay, all right, we'll wait till we straighten this out before we write another check.
Okay.
Okay,
No action?
no action.
No action.
Okay, so no old business. All right, we can do a call to the public.
Discussion on the signers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, did I skip one?
Yeah, see,
Where did I, where?
See,
See, oh, I see, okay. All right, apparently an old item that we didn't close out last meeting was to get all of the board members approved for signing the checks. So can I get a motion to do that?
I'll motion to approve all current board members to be signatories.
Okay,
I'll sign. Second.
all right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All righty. Now, call to the public. If there's anybody who has anything they want to discuss.
State my name and where I'm from.
That's right.
So I'm Heath Evans, I am a resident of Kingman, so speaking as a guest and a community member, but also speaking as president and CEO of KHI. One, I want to thank you for those that we met with about the lease. This is something that we share in common. We want to get a good solid lease that matches today going forward, and I think we had a very productive conversation, so thank you for that. I was also going to add in the conversation an administrative assistant, secretary. Just my thoughts. I've been here for 3 years now, watching this work, and the amount of work that the team that works for me puts into this every single month, I think is enormous. And I don't know that everybody realizes how much it takes to coordinate the attorney and the bills those kind of things. It's not just minutes that Billy's doing, he's answering emails to folks, he's looking up various things, trying to coordinate who needs to speak with an attorney. Barry and the accounting team, there's a lot of work here that needs to be done, and I just encourage you to consider, this is a higher level position than somebody taking notes or simply being an administrative assistant. It's probably an hour, but this is a business to run. You have a multi-million-dollar business, and running it once a month or once every 2 months for a board is not gonna be highly productive. So, just my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We agree. Okay, does anybody else have anything they'd like to vent? Nope, then I'd say we were adjourned.
Do we need a
Can I get
motion? I'll motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Thanks for coming, everybody.